Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Comic Book Geezers. I'm your host, Pete.
And I'm Wild Bill, the Unknown Comic, your other host. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of Comic Book Geezers. And today we're going to do Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing this one for a while, and he's actually a classic character that has appeared like everywhere throughout Marvel universe, the Marvel movies. You know, Nick Fury is just kind of like always, and S.H.I.E.L.D. in general is kind of always there. But this
shows up a lot in Captain America and Iron Man.
Yes,
specifically, a lot of those titles.
Occasionally the Fantastic Four, and he's all over the place. But the character Nick Fury actually goes back to World War II as Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos. So Marvel actually pre-Marvel, what was that, Atlas Comics had Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos comic. It was basically a war comic back in the day. But Nick Fury, the character, was given some sort of serum, almost like an anti-aging serum. Because if you really look at it, that was back in the 40s, and we started to see him appear in the 60s. He didn't look 20 years older. He looked old back in the...
The serum worked for Captain America to keep him young.
Right.
But not so much for Nick Fury.
Yeah, so kind of...
And he's the one character that stands out with a cigar in his mouth.
Always. Yeah.
And he was kind of like what I guess you would call like a blood and guts kind of General Patton kind of character from World War II. Because if you in the 60s, it was only 20 years after World War II, comic books did a lot of themed war comics. War, especially from World War II and World War I, was a heavy topic for comic book storylines. So there were a lot of war comics out there.
And they were popular.
Because the war was only 20 years old. World War II was one of the biggest events in the 20th century.
But you bring up a good point about his character being kind of like General Patton-ish. He had that kind of rough, and he said whatever he wanted to, and he didn't give a crap about, authority and all that stuff.
And for those of you who don't know much about World War II history, our American generals going against the Nazis, we had inferior weapons. The Nazis had the best equipment during World War II, and the generals from the Nazi regime, the only general they were concerned about that they feared was General Patton. And General Patton was that blood and guts, in-your-face kind of commander. And I think that his personality is kind of like a spin-off tribute of Nick Fury. I believe, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, I think that General Patton is what inspired the character of Nick Fury.
You're probably not far off, and I wouldn't disagree with that. And no disrespect to Samuel Jackson, who's a fine actor, but I never thought that he captured the spirit of the Nick Fury character.
Especially if you've been a fan, but you're going to see all these books are from Pete's collection, by the way. And when you read, I was exposed to through my comic collections of Iron Man. I was exposed to Nick Fury because he dealt a lot with Tony Stark. And his character is the same throughout all the different books, even in Captain America. When I got some Captain Americas later on. He
was a rough, loud,
and abrupt, and he had a lot of quick one-liners. If a guy was wimping out, he would be like, "Suck it up, pull up your bootstraps, come on, let's go."
He didn't walk around with a big black jacket and not say much. And
he didn't candy coat anything.
Nothing.
He didn't baby his troops.
So I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe has really done a disservice to the Nick Fury character. They've really marginalized him because he was a force of nature in the comic. Yeah. He really was.
And he was respected by the heroes.
Yes.
If he had an opinion about something to be accomplished, they took his opinions seriously. The heroes didn't blow him off.
No. And to bring up one of Bill's points before, a lot of the early villains in the S.H.I.E.L.D. Storylines and Nick Fury storylines were all German and all had origins back to the Nazis. So every one of them.
So now in the 60s, when they get away from the war theme, Pete's going to show you, he appeared in Strange Tales, issue 135.
135, which was 1965. So originally, well, not originally, but right about that time, the Strange Tales was being shared with a new character called Doctor Strange, as well as a familiar character, the Human Torch. So they moved the Torch out, they moved Nick Fury, and I don't have that first issue with Fury, but I do have 136. There it is right there. So at this time, Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was being drawn by Jack Kirby, of
Now,
course.
some of you might be wondering, with the eye patch, how did he lose his eye? I don't know.
No. It happened at the end of the war, I think.
Okay.
I believe so.
That's obviously a war injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would assume. But I don't know the actual... I just thought I'd raise that as a good trivia point.
And, of course, the big baddie... Well, not a baddie, but, it was always S.H.I.E.L.D. against Hydra.
Yes.
Hail Hydra, right?
Yes.
So again, the whole Nazi thing, Marvel was not shying away from that at all. So it was this constant battle between Fury and his agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. against Hydra and Baron von Strucker, right? And it was the big baddie, the Yellow Claw. I mean, all these guys that had ties to the Axis powers from World War II, whether they be Japanese or German. So again here, so this is, again, you can see Nick was not really getting into his James Bond type thing yet with all the gadgets and stuff.
James Bond, yes.
So here he still has a lot of the characteristics from the old Howling Commando stuff. From World
because
War
he becomes the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I don't know how that happened. I don't know the origin of how he became the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., but he does have that James Bond feature about the character, Secret Service kind of thing.
So here, I pulled a lot, just basically the Strange Tales with Fury on the cover. We've obviously seen the Doctor Strange ones before in our Doctor Strange episode. But here you're starting to see, these are great covers. Of course, all Jack Kirby stuff here. And you can start to see all the different gadgets and weapons that they employ to mainly fight Hydra here. I mean, look at this. This is classic Kirby.
That jawline.
Yep. And his cohorts, Dum Dum Dugan and Agent Stiltwell, who would show up in the Captain America and Iron Man all the time. Look at this. This is another classic. So if you guys were watching our recent Eternals episode, just look at, and we're talking, a decade in between. Look at how similar Kirby was still drawing.
This guy looks a lot like one of the Eternals.
Right, that's exactly why I pointed it out, because very, very similar. He just had this way of incorporating similar lines and themes in a lot of his characters, which you see and it instantly reminds you of that. So here, just look at all these great battle covers.
I guess certain particular artistic traits that are so noticeable.
Yes. Yeah, I think Kirby, among any other artist, had those traits that are just unmistakable. There are a couple other guys. Jim Starlin's one of them. Steranko's another one. We're going to talk about Steranko very shortly. A couple of other guys who had certain
characteristics. Another artist, probably the greatest artist in the history of mankind, who was born way before comics, who had a distinctive style, so recognizable, Michelangelo. He would have been an awesome comic book artist.
Just imagine that.
I wish that could come to fruition. That would have been amazing. Because that guy could paint, he could sculpt. Michelangelo was the ultimate artist.
No shortage of action on these covers, right? So here we have Mr. Steranko.
Jim Steranko, great artist.
Look at that. So the perfect guy to take over for Kirby on this, particular comic. And we're going to see some covers here that probably, in my opinion, rival some of Kirby's best. Yes. Steranko is a perfect guy to draw
and step
this character. Yeah.
Which is why he was handed over the helm when Nick Fury finally got his own title, which we'll see in a few minutes. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And here is where, for me, they took the Nick Fury character into kind of like James Bondish kind of espionage storylines and artwork away
Everything was always in secret.
Yeah.
Secret operations.
So again, those damn Hydra guys.
Yes.
They're ever present.
So it's basically Nick Fury. S.H.I.E.L.D. is basically out to protect the American...
Yeah, kind of like the intelligence community. But again, back then, they were protecting America from what? From aliens.
Any kind of threat.
Any kind of threat. This, by the way, I got this not too long ago. This is a great battle issue. Of course, that's Baron von Strucker up top. A classic Nick Fury villain.
That's a great cover.
Speaking of great covers. There's Mr.
Nice.
Cap. Yep.
Yes.
These two work together quite a bit. Tangled a little bit here. And, of course, they're right here.
Yeah, they had spats quite a bit, Captain America and Nick Fury.
That's the Yellow Claw up top, for anybody who's asking.
The evil villain.
Yeah, Cap and Nick fighting side by side.
The Yellow Claw used to fight guys like Iron Man, Nova. So a villain that
there he is
stood
again.
the test of time.
Classic Steranko stuff here. That's another great Steranko
cover.
Is a great
cover.
Look at that.
Getting beat up by a metal robot there.
Right. Now,
his head beat in.
This one is probably one of my favorite covers of all time. I know you probably heard me say that before, but this is, in my opinion, Steranko's shining moment next to that classic Captain America issue with Cap and Bucky and the big Hulk above them. Those two, in my opinion,
your favorites. We'll show this already.
Yeah.
We've built up enough drama. I can't wait.
Look at that.
That is cool.
That is like the perfect...
Also, I would say, looking at that as probably the most ultimate patriotic cover.
Took the words right out of my mouth. It's the whole rah, 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 let's go get them. We're Americans. We're going to kick ass. You got them all sitting there on the front. Dum Dum Dugan and everybody else, American flag. Now this is this classic Steranko drawn costume that Fury and a lot of the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents would wear.
Stars and Stripes forever. Yes, God bless America.
I would love this in a poster. I would frame it.
That would be awesome.
A great
fit for framing. Let's move that out of your way.
All right. So of course, his time in Strange Tales would come to an end because the character was so damn popular. They said, "Hey, let's give him his own series."
Yeah.
Right. So, and of course, Steranko stayed on because you got to. And another classic Steranko cover.
This is a great cover.
This is awesome.
I love that zebra. That was zebra kind of black and white stripes.
Now, how about the psychedelic elements of this cover?
Of the 60s, yes.
Right. I mean, this is like perfect.
Fits right in with the psychedelic 60s.
I forget this character's name, but wasn't he? I think he was Fury's brother.
I was going to make a joke and say, "Is that the human fly?" I'm looking at this in reverse. But no.
I forget the character's name, but I believe he was Fury's brother.
Okay.
Long lost
so
brother.
is he an antagonist?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a little...
He's against him.
More classic Steranko. Look at that. Great
like
stuff.
That.
Look at this one. This one is awesome, too.
Ooh.
Look at that. That's pretty cool, huh?
That is cool. I was going to say kind of like it's in the same realm as like a horror or even a Batman cover.
Absolutely. This
I
kind of
thinking
spookiness
Batman.
of it.
Yeah,
No,
It's
absolutely.
got that kind of flair to it. This cover has always caught my eye.
Yeah, this is a great one, too.
More of the psychedelic zebra pattern.
Interesting how they went for the black and white background.
Yeah.
And him in full color in the blue outfit on the front with all the guns and everything.
That definitely works, that cover.
So here you can see all the different gadgets and things that are attached to
he's all geared up.
He's all geared
ready
up.
for combat. Fighting crime.
Another very cool, kind of psychedelic looking cover.
And like the use of the white on the side. Like no overkill with the colors.
I believe this was a Scorpio. Actually, I think this might be Fury's brother, not the other guy. I think Scorpio is his brother.
Okay. Correction noted.
This is a cool one.
I have this one as well.
Yeah.
Thanks to our good friend Kirk.
Kirk Manning.
And his daughter, my #1 fan. Hello, Quinn. Your dad gave me a copy of this because it was ripped. But I still thank you, Kirk. But yeah, it's my oldest.
We actually have to get Kirk on one of these shows one day.
We want to go to his house. We're not going to have him here. We want to go there.
Let me tell you something. We are comic book users. We own a lot of comics. But man,
our buddy Kirk, our college buddy Kirk,
has probably like 5 times as many as ours put together.
He had 190 boxes at one time.
Long boxes.
And then when he got married, the wife was like, "Get them out." So he had to be selling them.
Sorry, Kristen.
We're blowing up your spot, but we're having fun, you know. So, but yes, thank you for that issue, Kirk. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Hello again, Quinn.
Look at his daughter. Great. This is where we're up to number 7.
All right.
Great Steranko.
Moving right along. Oh, I love this cover.
Yeah, this is awesome. Look at that.
And who's that villain?
I forget his name.
Definitely like very gothic.
Holy like purple Ku Klux Klansman guy there. That's
could be like an evil jester.
I don't know.
The hands.
I know, right?
Evil. Definitely cool.
This actually, not this particular issue that I hold in my hands here, but I had another copy of this. Was my oldest Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. that I had in my collection when I was a kid, but it got like totally beat up and destroyed. So
Used and abused.
I rebought it. Not a couple years
It's a nice cover, man.
It is. This is like
good shape.
Christmas issue. Yeah, pretty cool.
I get it. Christmas ornaments.
Yeah. Oops. Another cool one.
Look at the silhouette of the face.
I know, right?
I can't breathe. No.
This is actually a Barry Smith cover.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Is this when they were experimenting with him trying to do heroes, and he's like, "I'm not liking it"?
He wasn't liking it. So, of course...
Oh, this is a cool one.
Steranko came back. Yeah, this is another great cover. Another great cover.
More patriotic theme, the American flag. This one's kind of a defiant pose, like bursting out.
Of course, that cigar and the unshaven chin.
He's always a little bit more classier here with the sports jacket.
Yep.
Huh.
This is a cool cover, too.
Yeah.
The Assassination of Nick Fury? I don't think so.
This issue I only have 3 issues. 6, 16. Oh, I don't have this. I'm sorry. I have 17 and 18 is what I have.
This, I believe, is a reprint. The storyline is reprinted from an old Strange Tale. They started towards the end of the run.
Do reprints?
They were just doing reprints, yeah.
Because sales were probably dying?
Yeah, I guess. And,
Yeah, this is a great cover.
Yeah, it is a really good cover.
I think that was my first Nick Fury.
And here's the last one of the original run, number 18.
Which I have also. Nice cover.
So they would follow that up a couple years later in 1972. We haven't been able to find out a lot of information on these 5 issues, but I got them all anyway. So this is another brief little run filled with a couple of original tunes and some reprints of stuff
Probably
from that
72
series.
or 73 because these are 20-cent books.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Again,
cool
the American flag.
Yeah, another cool Steranko cover. You'll see this is we showed you this. This is a reprint. We showed you this one before. Here it is with some different colors, but same cover.
Yeah, that was from Strange Tales.
Yep.
Okay.
Here's also. So these are basically reprints from Strange Tales, which at the time I did not know, but I bought them anyway.
Still.
Here you go.
Collectible nonetheless.
Yep. So good stuff, and the Nick Fury character, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they would pop up again. I think they had like 5 different runs throughout the 80s and 90s, and they every like 5 or 10 years they bring him back. Do another run.
He was the standard government figure.
Yes.
In the U.S. government, basically with dealing. He was a liaison between the U.S. government and the superhero world of Marvel Universe.
Yep, yep.
So I'm Wild Bill saying thanks for being here with us. This wraps up our Nick Fury episode. I want to thank you again for all your hits and views, and thank you for your comments, and always thank you for subscribing. This is our 1-year anniversary, the month of July. We started a year ago, and we're approaching 4,000 hits and almost 100 subscribers.
Yes, so we want that 100 subscribers. That's a good hill. So make sure you tell all your friends to go and subscribe and check out our episodes.
So thanks for watching again, as always, and we'll be back with more stuff as always.
See you next time. Keep watching, guys.
Take care,
Thanks.
comic lovers. Bye.
Bye-bye.